Peter.
6.2A. So you can bring it up there. You can just say in business logic, number 3 in there. Yes, Mayor. I'm going to say that 6.2A, corresponding to next to on the attendance, and then you can give you a look there. Yes, it is. I just didn't pour them up. The mayor didn't have a jug, so I poured up.
Don't get water, it's slimy.
Town clerk, you ready? What's that? Ready, boys? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our regular council meeting of September the 13th, 2022. I call the meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to pay our respects to the victims of the mass killing in Saskatchewan on September the 4th, as well as the passing of Queen Elizabeth II on September the 8th. God save the King. Can we get the approval of the agenda for September the 13th, 2022? Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Seymour. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. And can we get the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting of August the 16th, 2022? Moved by Councillor O'Grady, seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. And can we get the adoption of the minutes of the special meeting of August the 30th, 2022? Moved by Councillor Knowles, seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. Any business arising from the minutes? I think we have one there, number 4, Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. Approval to call to tender. So can we make a motion on this to accept that, or?
It's Water Street Phase 2, is it? That was on the last meeting. Yes. It was deferred because the saying that it's going to be on the application first.
Yes,
So I don't know if you've done enough of it to.
most of those, I believe we've done most of the ones on Water Street. So from the ones we've done, we haven't received any feedback that would make any changes to what's proposed right now. They're just, I think, waiting on some electrical drawings. So as soon as that's received, it can go to tender. So if we got the approval by the province, you can go ahead and make the motion. So at least that way, as soon as those drawing, the electrical's received, the consultant can proceed.
Absolutely. Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade that we call the tender for water and sewer, storm and street upgrading phase 2 of Water Street. Can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. Yes.
Also, like on business arising, 6.2 of the previous minutes there, I just wanted to update you there. There was a invitation for the boundary, the Federal Boundary Commission. They're changing the boundary, so that took place this afternoon. And I did a presentation on behalf of the town of Carbonear. There was a good turnout of people. I think they said it was the biggest one they've had so far. They've done half a dozen so far, you know, and it was well attended. The MP McDonald did a detailed presentation. I think you may have seen it. He sent it out to all of us. And the town of Harbour Grace was there, and town of Carbonear, and our Minister Parsons from, you know, Harbour Grace was there, and some other people from the electoral, like the people who look after the elections, they are there because they know the boundaries really well. So anyway, it went very well, and I mean, there's no, you know, the commission just took all our, you know, presentations and asked a lot of questions. There's a lot of similar presentations from people, you know, about splitting, because, you know, they're looking at splitting the Avalon district. So everywhere from Spaniards Bay down will go with the Peninsula district, and Bay Robertson will stay with the Avalon district. So, you know, MP McDonald, he has a proposal to split it in entirely different way. So we'll see, I guess, you know, how it goes. Just they got a lot of more places to have hearings from yet, but some good arguments were made. So I just want to give you an update on that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank Councillor O'Grady for going up and doing that and making that presentation on behalf of council.
There you go. Okay, we'll move on to number 5, proclamation. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Snow.
Councillor O'Grady, was the presentation that the town made similar to Ken McDonald's? Changes that he,
You know, we covered some of the topics. Like Ken, I guess he was kind of speaking for the entire district, you know, including, you know, changes in Paradise and things like that. I mean, I mostly concentrated on the CBN, you know, like how our CBN group is, you know, a tight-knit group, and how we, you know, just splitting the CBN for 2 different districts, you know. That's where myself and Harbour Grace and you know, the mayor of Harbour Grace and the MHA for the Harbour Grace district, that's what we concentrated on mostly, right? So, but MP McDonald certainly did cover that as well, you know, and so, yeah, so.
Move your microphone very close to you out there. Okay. Move on, number 5, proclamations, presentations, delegations. We have 3 proclamations, and we also have a delegation from one of them here. We have Christine and Laura Whalen of down the shore. So I'd like to welcome you guys here today. So we'll do that one first, and then after I read this one, we'll do a signing with with all of us and our guests as well. And then if they so desire to stay for the rest of the meeting, they can. If not, we'll thank you for dropping in. Okay, proclamation, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2022, Town of Carbonear. Whereas there are about 10,000 children living with cancer in Canada today, and whereas each year about 1,600 cases are diagnosed, over 25 of which are children in Newfoundland and Labrador, whereas in Canada, childhood cancer remains responsible for more deaths from 1 year through adolescence than any other disease. And whereas about 1 in 4 children who are diagnosed with cancer will die of this disease. Whereas because of significant advance in therapy, 78% of children diagnosed with cancer will survive 5 years or more, an increase of almost 46% since the early 1960s. Whereas childhood cancer has close to a 75% cure rate, with leukemia leading the success charge with close to 90% overall cure rate. Now therefore I, Mayor Frank Butt, on behalf of the town of Carbonear, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the town of Carbonear. Can we get a mover and seconder for that, please?
So moved, Mr.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion passed. So we could vacate our seats for a moment and get a photo op there, and we'll include our Laura and Christine Whalen as well. It's probably best up there, guys, because it's too much light here from this. Is it too bright here in front of me?
Yes. So one of the chairs out, and some of you can sit on the chairs. You can probably move over a bit. Move over a bit.
So we're all, I got some job signs here, right?
Oh, this is it.
Now look, unless I move the table over.
Oh, that's fine, what do you want to do?
What do you think?
You want to make sure I get the logo?
Well, you sit,
Yep, okay.
right? Because then we're going to sit behind you.
These chairs here?
Did you want to sit there or?
Take a little bit from here, guys.
I'd say probably better if it's
Okay.
on.
Yeah.
You won't see. Yes. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, stand.
You want to get on this side, or you're okay?
I'll get over to you.
I'll move
Down
in.
to you, probably move
Grab your
on.
seat here.
That's Laura.
Okay, you want to, what's that?
Laura's gonna come there. We're gonna put one on each side. Laura on there, and Christine on over there. Okay, can you move over this way then? And then this way, Laura.
We can't take our mask off.
Let's go down, Laura. Did you want Frank to move down too? Yes. You guys, you said no. Scoochie.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Trying to center.
Should have the camera ready. All right, ready? 1, 2, and one more. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. How are you? Everybody in the family? Okay.
For a little bit.
I didn't know, I didn't see you there.
Oh, I just see it.
Yeah, serving.
What?
I was serving.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Until.
I want you to stay for the meeting, you know.
No, I can certainly.
Yeah, no, that's great.
We certainly do appreciate that, but we're going to scooch on it. But before we do, Mayor Butt and to all your councilors, thank you so very much. We appreciate you taking the time. We certainly appreciate that September is a busy month anyhow, and to take the time to sign a proclamation for us to help to bring awareness to childhood cancer. We certainly appreciate that. And I will be forwarding a picture of this on to our coordinator, and she'll be doing some posting about that. So again, thank you so very much for your time. Have a great evening.
Okay, So our next proclamation is Wrongful Conviction Day. Wrongful Conviction Day, October 2nd, 2022. Whereas the loss of one's freedom due to wrongful conviction has far-reaching and devastating consequences which not only affect the innocent individual's life, but also affects the quality of life of their family and has a harmful effect on society as a whole. And whereas wrongful convictions question the integrity and fairness of the criminal justice system, and unless corrected, undermine society's trust in the criminal justice system. And whereas Wrongful Conviction Day is a global movement dedicated to advocating for innocent individuals who have been wrongly convicted of a crime they did not commit. The implementation of and recognition of this day is the start to reaching a broader audience regarding the importance surrounding miscarriages of justice. A proclamation will assist to advocate, educate, and create awareness around those miscarriages of justice in hope for reform to minimize the effect it could have on other individuals. Therefore, I, Mayor Frank Butt, proclaim October 2nd, 2022 as Wrongful Conviction Day in the town of Carbonear. Signed at Carbonear Council Chambers on this 13th day of September 2022. Can we get a mover? Mover by Councillor O'Grady, seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion passed. And our third proclamation is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, September 2022. Whereas prostate cancer is the most common cancer among Canadian men, and whereas 1 in 9 men in Newfoundland and Labrador will be diagnosed with the disease, and whereas the survival rate for prostate cancer is nearly 100% when detected early, but 3 of 4 men will die when found late, and whereas those with a family history of the disease are at a greater risk. Whereas awareness and conversations about prostate cancer can lead to screening and early detection, and whereas the town of Carbonear supports everyone committed to raising awareness about prostate cancer. Therefore, I, Mayor Frank Butt, on behalf of the town of Carbonear, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in the town of Carbonear. And can we get a seconder for that? Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Seymour, seconded by Councillor Dial. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion passed. Okay, we'll move on to number 6, permits and correspondence. Councillor Dial.
If everybody could take a look at slide number 7 in their Dropbox to make sure that there are no conflicts there. I actually have a permit there myself, so Councillor Snow is going to make make the motion for mine, so I'll omit that one. Make a motion to approve permit listing 10,025 to 10,053, omitting 10,032.
Can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion passed.
And Councillor Snow is going to do the next one. And just a note that we are up to 7 new housing applications to date, so it's up a bit from the last couple of years of COVID and high building prices. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. There's 2 home applications on this permit listing for this period alone.
Councillor Snow.
So moved that the town of Carbonear approve permit 10,032.
And move it close to you too, Peter. Councillor.
I so move that the town of Carbonear approve permit 10032.
Okay. And seconded by Deputy Mayor Slade. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion passed. And the reason Councillor Dahl left is that that was her property. That's the permit was issued to. .2 correspondence requiring council's decision, and I think we have several councillors in conflict on that, me being one and Councillor Noel, and I think that's it. Anyone else? Nope. So we will leave and Deputy Mayor Slade will take over the reins.
So Mayor, but that's because you have a brother in the area, right?
That's correct.
Who owns property in the area, and Councillor Knoll, I believe, has a brother as well in that area, right? Owns
Okay.
property. Okay, perfect. Yes.
Whereas proposals were requested for engineering consultant services for Valley Road, Water Street, Sewer, and Street Upgrading Project 17, GI 22-00013, and whereas proposals received were evaluated and found to be in good order, and whereas Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solution Canada is the preferred proponent, and whereas approval to enter into a contract for consultant services for the project was received by the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, be it resolved to award the prime consultant agreement to a contract to Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solution Canada Limited in the amount of $113,756.96.
Motion's been made by Councillor Doyle, second by Councillor Snow. Question? All those in favour? Those opposed, motion is carried.
Okay, we'll move on to 6.3, correspondence received and action taken. You can have a look down through there.
Under letter H, there was it said it was forwarded to Recreation, Special Events, Culture and Tourism, but I checked the minutes and I didn't see it there. So was that prior to the last time Recreation met? Okay, so that's on the next agenda. Okay, I was just curious.
Councillor Snow?
I was just wondering what the problem was with the rock wall on Water Street. Any information on that?
Okay, we'll move on to number 7, committee reports, Public Works, Waste Management, and Community Services. Deputy Mayor Slade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyway, the minutes of the last Lenti meeting, I might add, is there for council to peruse. We do have one recommendation coming out of it, and it is recommended from the MEO report, resolved to send out orders to the following properties to complete property cleanup at 4 Kelby Corners, to demolish the shed on the property at 32 Valley Road. And I so do move.
And can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Seymour. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, motion passed.
And that's it for my report, Mr. Mayor, unless any of the councillors have any questions.
Any questions for the Deputy Mayor? Okay, thank you, sir. We'll move on now to 7B, Recreation, Special Events, Culture and Tourism. Councillor Seymour.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few things on my agenda is, on our meeting there a while ago, we had a few things that we discussed on upcoming events and upcoming things that's going on, shaping up our community, shaping up the recreation. There's a few things there we spoke about a sign, and there is some other things, scoreboards. Mr. Budden there, the director, will fill us in on most of that, I suppose, when everything is said and done with our next meeting and so on. But the EDTO came up with a few ideas and a few things that she's passing through. She's got some grants and everything to discuss. And we've moved onward with the new thing coming out now for the Halloween, I suppose. You call it a fall harvest. And for October the 1st to November the 1st, it's going to be a big thing for us. We're going to try to get it off the ground, and if it is, I think it's a big thing for Carbonear and a big issue. Also, Councillor Doyle mentioned something one time, we brought it up in our meeting, about some photo shoot things for the town, and we're looking into that. We also, the ETO is looking into it with one of our workers and carpenters and Public Works to develop something there. So that was going to be a great thing for the playground for kids and everything else. Our playgrounds are looking up. We got some new things added to it, and hey, some wonderful things being done in Carbonear. But so if any other questions other than, I got 2 motions to pass there tonight. Any other questions other than that, you can pass them on to me after the motions are passed, and I'm hoping they will be passed. So from there, I'm going to look at everything and see if we can pass the motions, and any questions after that, you can also do so to ask me. This one is the resolve to purchase a chemical controller from Commercial Athletics Suppliers at the cost of $2,550 plus HST and shipping. And this is a big thing we need for the swimming pool. We went ahead with it a bit earlier because it was an emergency situation.
Yep. Okay, we'll get a second and you can discuss. But okay, getting a second by Councillor Snow. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Smear.
No questions?
What? No. What is it? What is it? Yeah. What is it?
It controls the chemicals and everything going into our water for the guys of Rob, speak more on it.
Yes, that's pretty much. So it's a controller that monitors the chlorine and pH level of the water. Old one was 20 years old and some parts have malfunctioned. So to replace it or to fix it would cost more than actual replacement. So we went ahead and looked into the purchase of a new monitoring system that will automatically feed the chlorine and pH and acid for pH reduction without having to be done by a person standing by all the time.
Any further discussion?
On this
On
or?
that one?
Oh, no.
All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And my next one would be resolved to award the RFP for competition of the Recreation Master Plan to Track Consulting at a cost of $42,785 plus HST.
And can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. No, I think everyone. Oh, I didn't see you. Yes, one. Excuse me, 2. Councillor Noel and Deputy Mayor Slade. Okay. Is that your report? Anything further?
There is other things there, but we have the director here today, and we have the EDTO here also. So if there's any more things that need to be asked by council or anything else, they can have forward questions and they can answer for them.
Okay. Any questions for Councillor Seymour? Go ahead, Councillor Doyle.
Under 4A, the picture wall to communicate with nonverbal children in playgrounds. While I understand the nice idea behind it, if we're having a master review of recreation and we're looking at an inclusive playground and all the rest of it, I think it would be jumping the gun to have something like that right off the bat. In addition to that, not all, but a lot of children who are nonverbal are using assistive tech kind of devices, and they carry personal picture communication devices. So while I understand the gesture, I think it's wonderful. I think it should be I think it's jumping the gun to include it when hopefully someday in the very near future we will have an inclusive playground, and maybe that could be a part of an inclusive playground.
Councillor, oh, sorry.
It was something that was asked for. So we looked into it and we added it to the plate, as I would say, to the plate. But that not necessarily saying we're going to we looked at, as we're going through now, cost and everything else. So as we go through, yes, that can be added to the master plan. So other things such as the playground, special needs, handicap association and everything else, all this can be invented. But we just had it there so it can look like, look, we're going to go there, we're going to invent something, we're going to do something. But yes, we can add it to the master plan.
Councillor Noel?
Just had a question about the sign at the Queen's Playground there. It says the committee is recommending placement of a new sign measuring 12 by 18 and at a location certified by the we talked about that for quite extensively. And there was some things that were recommended by council. I'm not going to give you a whole preamble. I won't get into that here already. But no, I don't recall, I'm on a committee member of that group, and I don't recall approving a 12 by 18 sign. I saw some emails that was sent out. There was lots of discussion about this, and I can go into the whole history of it if you want to, but I won't bore you from that. But the last thing that I saw was that the sign would have to be of a certain size, and right from the get-go was my understanding this was going to be a small sign, probably something about 12 inches by 12 inches, and it got away to 4 feet by 4 feet, and then there was some motions made. Again, I can get into the whole lot of it, but I refrained from doing that. I'm in favor of a 12 by 12 sign. I thought, Mr. Chair Seymour, I thought that's what we had agreed to.
When we in our committee at that time, we did approve the 12 by 18 at the time because we figured we needed a little bit longer now. But we also got some comment back that we needed something square to portray everything that we need to put on there. So we had a letter or a memo come back to us that would go to 18 by 18 because I said we'd probably, but I also said that depending on what Mr. Knoll said, I passed it on to you too, sir. But 12 by 12 is what we asked for, or 12 by 18 we went along with. But at the end of the day, if we're not going to go with signs, I'm going to recommend something down the road, then our next meeting, that if we're not going to go with signs, we want to do away with signs, we got staff fencing in our playground somewhere along the line. So we can defer from signs, is either one or the other.
Councillor Noel?
No, I guess I can't help but going back for a little while. And, there was some discussion amongst the committee. There was some visits to the site. Council, of which everybody, with the exclusion, I think, of Mr. Snow, was not present. And the decision was that the sign would be removed. I visited the site after the fact and asked for some input into it. I was a bit hesitant about doing it first. But anyway, all that aside, things got changed from what council had said. And one of the responses that I gave to one of the emails was that if council has made a decision, right, it is not, in my opinion, not up to one or two individuals or two members of a committee to change what council has said.
So a motion was made for a particular...
There was notes taken, Mr. Mayor, excuse me, but there was a meeting held to try to get that rectified and clarified. And upon a review of some of the notes that were taken, some of the information, as I recall, it wasn't there. But it's true, we never take all the notes of everything that's discussed. But just to fast forward this a little bit, we have lots of signs pertaining to ATVs. I'm okay if, again, like the rest of the council made that. So I don't think it's right for me to say, I'm good with this now. If all of council is good with a 12 by 12 sign being put there with the changes made that, we talked about, I'm good with that. I don't want to be continuing this on. But, you know, things got the process, so I'm more concerned with the process.
Whatever council decided into the last meeting as for that sign, that's what it is. I don't think there's any need to be hammering out something different. Council requested that the size of that sign would be a certain size, and as far as I'm concerned, that's what council decided. And until somebody comes back and withdraws that motion, it should carry forward.
So is the sign removed? I don't know if,
Mr. Mayor, could I speak to that for a moment?
yes, go ahead, Town Clerk.
So the initial discussion on this was had in a discussion meeting of council, so no decisions are made or motioned in a discussion meeting. So the sign that had been placed, some council members were not happy with the size of the sign, so they indicated that they would like the sign removed and a smaller sign put up. So it got reviewed by a staff member and one of the members from the Recreation Committee. And then later it got discussed with the CAO as well. And an email was sent out to the committee members for Recreation with the suggestion that we reduce the size of the sign down to 25% of the original size of the sign. And what was recommended was a sign 2x2. So 4 square feet. When we came back and discussed it in Recreation, we had a draft, just a hand-drawn diagram of what was proposed to be done with the 2x2 signs. But we sat here in a Recreation Committee meeting and reviewed the size of a 2x2, and that was still considered too big. And we did actually present something that was size 12 by 18, and that was agreed upon in that Recreation Committee meeting to come forward as a recommendation. That's the recommendation you see here tonight. Is it for a 12 by 18 sign? However, since then, the CAO can speak to another email that she has sent out in regards to how the sign has to be designed. And 12 by 18 might not have necessarily been a good measurement. It could have been, what was the next size that was recommended?
Well, what it was, the EDTO inquired, because I wasn't at that meeting, but she did inquire about, with the sign company, about putting it on the 12 by 18, and they just, the issue was, I guess, the 4 by 4 sign, they were just going to reduce it down, and they just indicated that, you know, to reduce it down and place on a smaller sign, it would have to be square. So, you know, so I just asked the question if the committee would be satisfied with 18 by 18, since 12 by 18 didn't work. Now, if the committee wants to recommend 12 by 12, I mean, that's entirely up to the committee, but I just asked that question.
So was there a motion made?
No,
No.
as the clerk is correct in saying that, but there was a decision made by council. I just want to back up a little bit here. I was asked by the Director of Operations to visit the site, of which I said to him I was a bit apprehensive about doing so because I'm not all of council. So he said, we just want to get some clarification as to where, we do this once and try to get it fixed, which was fine. So I went in, and he and I and 2 other workers from the town were there. We had some discussions about the sign. I pointed out that it's too bad this playground is not fenced, but I said that's an issue for another day because that's not what you asked me here to comment on. So I said, there's nothing to prohibit any kind of a vehicle from coming into this playground, but a sign, I guess, would be a start. So I suggested that the sign be at minimum moved out somewhere towards the road. And I did say at the time, I'm not sure where a certain individual's boundary starts or ends, so somewhere out here, I guess, would be probably what I can see. We left, we walked to the top of the path, and we talked about the 4x4 sign that was there. By the way, there was a circle drawn with some fluorescent paint, and it seemed like the 4 of us were understanding that that's where it was going to go. I walked up the path along with the other 3 individuals. And when we got up there, a similar conversation took place. And there was talk about probably just removing the sign and leaving 1 post. But it was recommended that the sign was done very well. It was sort of had some parts chiseled out, so the sign went together very well, very strong sign. So my understanding at that point in time that the whole sign would be used somewhere else where it could probably better fit the, the terrain and have an impact. And then there was we talked about which side. I said, well, it don't matter, so you can put it over here on this side towards me. A little circle was drawn, and a dot was put there, and that was my understanding of what was going to happen. Shortly thereafter, I received an email. After our meeting, the CAO, who wasn't there at the site when we had 3 other staff employees there, came and visited the site with the Director of Operations, and then there was a bunch of things that got changed. And I'm just, I don't want to be talking about this. I want this to go away. I want the sign, put a small sign there. If it was about protecting all the individuals, and there's several routes in there where ATVs can access down through, and I can provide a map for that. But it's like council, and we're elected by the people to make our decisions. We made our recommendations, and I thought, and I know it didn't come back as a motion, but I'm ready to make a motion, right? Because it's not about the sign, it's the process that this went through. And I am a little bit taken back by it. And I feel that if there was a need for other members to be there, including the CAO or the clerk or whoever it might have been, it probably would have been good for all of us to be there at that time. Or don't ask me to go in there if it's and 3 town employees at the time in there. Now we weren't in there that long, but we had to go there. They had to go there. They took time from something else to do it. So I'll having said all that, I'll make a recommendation that a 12-inch by 12-inch sign be put there, and some further things be put around so that ATVs can't access the other routes that are in there.
A motion or a recommendation?
Well, I'll throw it out for people to just. I'm sort of cut off, right? I didn't want, I can't.
We've had multiple discussions about this sign. I just want it to go away at this point. Like, I think it's such an insignificant thing, and if we're not all kicking up about all the other signs in the town, then this sign shouldn't be taking up as much sign. In my opinion, we've got bigger things to worry about. We got projects delayed. We have no family doctors in the town. I will make a motion to either a 12 by 12 sign, a 12-18 sign, whatever size sign you can get the information on, just to put this sign matter away for once and for all.
I just want to clarify.
Hold on now. Is that a motion you're making there?
Yes, I'm making the motion.
Okay, a motion by Councillor Doyle to erect a 12 by 12 sign at wherever it is.
It's just 2, actually. So I'm assuming.
There's 1 on each.
One on each end of that path.
Okay. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Seymour. Discussion. Councillor Snow, did you have something to say?
Yeah. If we're
I'll
going
get to you, CAO.
if the signs currently now are blocking motorized vehicles or impeding them in some way, and we're taking it out of the way, I think a priority of council should be fencing that playground in, protection to the children. And I think in our committee meetings, this is not the time or place to do that. We should probably raise that issue and get it rectified as soon as we possibly can.
CAO, we'd like to respond.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify, there was nothing changed. I guess there wasn't a decision made at the time. The only question, I didn't go in to say that where the marks were made, that should be changed. The only issue that came up is the 12 by 18 that was proposed to go on the single post off to the side that the Councillor Knoll referenced. The sign company indicated that the 12 by 18 was the wrong configuration. So I just wanted to know, since the 12 by 18 wasn't going to work, were you okay with 18 by 18? If 18 by 18 wasn't fine, 12 by 12, I specifically indicated in the email it had to be square. So That's the only question I was asking. The 12 by 18 was the wrong configuration because it was rectangle. You know, we need a square configuration. I asked if 18 by 18 was okay. If that wasn't going to be okay and 12 by 12 was preferred, that's fine too. But that's the only thing I needed clarified. So
I understand
think
that
there
if
might
you had
be
to
a bit of-
downsize, it had to be equal
Yeah.
amounts, that's
Yeah.
all, yeah.
And
But
that's
not
all
what you're,
that's the
that's
only thing
not
I
what
was-
you're concerned,
Right.
I understand.
I have to agree with Councillor Doyle. I think this has been beaten around long enough,
Yeah.
but, you know, I don't know how much more detail we need, whether it's gonna be nailed together or screwed together. You know,
Yes.
but it is, forgive my, my
Uh,
cynicism, but,
Yeah. So the only other, I guess, clarification we need, we do have the sign size. It was, I did recommend that, you know, when the big sign was taken down, that the post be cut off and left there for, just to, I guess, prevent access to the pathway there and, you know, the playground. I do agree with Councillor Knoll. I think, on the Remembrance Loop side, right now that is completely open to vehicles and that, so yes, there needs to be, you know, some posts put in there or fencing along Remembrance Loop to prevent access, because all our playgrounds, you know, there is we need to
Yes.
prevent access to that, so I certainly agree with what he's saying there. There needs to be something on the Remembrance Loop side, but, you know, for the time being, those posts would prevent access to it from, you know, from those areas. But you do need to look at that as well.
I just want to wish I may conclude with, I believe my colleagues of council would have agreed with what I thought was going to happen. The small sign, the 12 by 12 sign, and the speed at which it took is, you know, we've had this has been beaten around way too long. And a 12 by 12 sign there, and again, if the, I forget the terminology because I wasn't familiar with it at the time, the bollocks.
Bollards, I think.
Bollards, right?
Yes.
There's another path there that goes over to the other side, so we might want to put a couple more bollards in some other spots, because if the function of leaving the sign there, the bollards are left there, there's lots of other room for ATVs to get down there. And having said that, I live in the area. We never substantiated the fact that there was ATV. Yeah, it could have been an ATV go through there.
Mhm.
But I think as a committee and as a council, as a staff, we get one letter. We usually substantiate that if it's an issue, and we didn't on this one. But if and I get the safety. Like no one in here. I have grandchildren in that area too. Grandchildren in there who go through that area. I don't want them coming in contact with ATVs. I want them to be able to move freely in through it, not have to leave their wagon in my garden to go down through my yard to get down there. And this could have been addressed and corrected long ago, but it got kept going and going. And again, it's not merely about the size of the sign. It's the process of a council. You know, I guess we all learn stuff from, you know, make sure there's a motion, make sure you put lots of detail there, because if not, it may very well, somewhere down the road, have some things made to it, so.
Would
So,
any other council?
thank you, sir.
Okay, would any other council like to make a comment? Okay, so the motion is to erect a 12 by 12 sign, basically. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion passed. Any other questions for the chair of the recreation? Thank you, sir.
I have one more thing. For multiple years now, I've been asking about the grass seed at the pergola, and there's always, it's going to be this and it's going to be that, and we're going to try this and we're going to try that. It is the middle of September. This is year 3, so I see that they're getting quotes for topsoil and investigating the work. Can we set a deadline that there has to be topsoil and grass seed on the pergola area by such and such a date?
There's a motion in my report.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on now. Oh,
On a
sorry.
lighter note, I have a question for the Director of Recreation. The pickleball, sounds like a lot of fun. Is the equipment in at the pool that you can rent or sign out, or you have to bring your own?
Bring your own right now, but that's something we can investigate going forward for sure.
How expensive it is or whatever?
Yeah, no, that's something we can investigate for for next budget purposes, yeah.
All right. Move on to 7C now, the Economic Development Planning and Land Use Development. Councillor Dial.
If everybody wants to take a look at slide number 10 in their Dropbox, the committee met on September the 8th. Just generally for anybody who's interested, the development committee meets the Thursday before the council meetings to ensure that any last minute permits are in time in order to get approved at the council meeting. Under Business Arising, we talked about the Harvest Festival and the fall campaign, so that's a little bit of a crossover with some recreation. There will be some fall displays, which will be nice. There's a mail out going to some areas on the Avalon. There, I think, are some craft fairs, etc., like that organized, and there's some community events, not that the town is sponsoring, but just some other community social events. I think some churches, etc., have some things going on. The RFP is awarded, so that's really good news. You know, we struggle, you know, our municipal plan is over 20 years old, and we struggle in development all the time with making decisions where we're following provincial policy, municipal policy, and trying to keep up with the times. So it'll be great to finally get a copy of that. I don't know how long it's going to take, but anyway, it's at least awarded. We had a number of business applications.
Councillor Doyle?
Yep.
The RFP is not awarded yet, but the motion is there for you to bring forward?
Oh, sorry, yes.
So
The motion is there for me,
Did
yes.
you want to take care of that now, or?
No, I'll do it at the end with all the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. There was a number of applications. There were some that we needed more clarification on in order to proceed with respect to water and sewer lines. There were some also some about property sizes that we needed to get some more information on. We had a number of correspondence, mostly related to discretionary advertisements advertised, so we discussed those. We reviewed the Water Street Landscape Memorial Concept Design. That will be reviewed with council when we have a Monday meeting, and after that it'll be reviewed also with the Royal Canadian Legion, of course. That's pretty much it for us. So if you want to look at slide number 10 in your Dropbox, resolve to award the RFP for the completion of the municipal plan and development regulations to Upland Planning and Design Incorporated, at a cost of $77,610 plus HST.
Can we get a second for that? Second by Councillor Snow. Discussion? Is that for the Funkins? No.
That's for the municipal plan.
Oh, sorry. I'm lost on my, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
Resolve to approve the following applications in accordance with the applications submitted, the Town of Carbonear Municipal Plan and Development Regulations and other conditions as specified, to construct a garage at 34 to 36 Hoyles Road, conditional upon no objections or representations being received from the discretionary use advertisement, and to relocate a business from 226 Water Street, conditional upon approval from the Department of Digital Government and Service NL.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And resolve to refuse the following application to construct a greenhouse at 67 Southside Lower Road as the development does not comply with the Town of Carbonear development regulations.
Can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion?
Just for
What is the
the issue with that is that there's no clear ownership of the land in which it's being placed on. So if they come up, if they get the survey to show that the land is theirs, they can of course go ahead with the greenhouse. But right now it's on a piece of land they're not the identified owner.
All in favor?
Just
Oh, okay.
just a quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead there. Deputy Mayor.
So, that particular one,
Speaking
so
to the mic there,
like is that?
yeah, speaking to it, I guess.
So that particular one there, is that the one that was new house built on it there not too long ago?
Well, no, not exactly. There was an auction, and that's not what's in question, is the land behind, that wasn't included in that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
we did
no.
get, we did inquire with our lawyer,
Yeah.
just to inquire what we should, I guess, require from the applicant, for information with respect to, where ownership is claimed on that. So he
Yes,
did.
okay, yeah.
He
Oh.
did suggest to us what we should request from the owner or the person that's claiming it,
Yeah.
but we're still waiting. Like we
Okay,
haven't received
now
it.
you know why I asked the question.
Yeah.
I mean, you give a permit to build a house. and-
Yes, it's not.
It's a
Okay.
separate,
not
it's a
the
separate piece of
parcel-
land.
Yes,
It's different.
Yep.
Yes, it's the
Okay.
rear property.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Administrator.
All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. Any questions for Councillor Doyle? Oh, is that your report? You finished your report? Any questions?
It's the seconder on that last motion.
Councillor Nolan.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to number 7D, Finance and Administration and Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The finance minutes are number 11 in your Dropbox. Just a few things I want to go over. There are some motions there. The human resource policy has been circulated. There were some changes late today, so I've spoken to one councillor already, so I think we would like to defer that for the next meeting, so people get a chance to look over the changes. So please do that. If you got any questions, email me back during the week if you could. The procurement policy and procedure. So there were we adopted that policy last week, but there was a sentence omitted from there, so we need to, I guess, re-adopt it. That's been not sure if I need to read the section or clerk or. Anyway, it's been circulated. There was a sentence that was previously in there, but it got omitted when the revision. So I'll make the motion resolved to adopt the amended procurement policy and procedures 8.3 as presented to council.
And can we get a second for that? Seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
Let me see here. So we also circulated, the government has, I guess, mandated that we approve code of conduct policies for one for councillors and also one for staff, council staff. So those have also been circulated. And we just adopted the policy as put forward by government. So there are two motions for that, or is that all one motion? That looks like it's
Just the one.
all one motion. I'll go ahead and read it. Whereas the Municipal Code of Conduct Act was proclaimed and came to legal effect on September 1st, 2022, and whereas the Municipal Conduct Regulations came into legal force on September 1, 2022, and whereas the Act requires a municipality to adopt a code of conduct that applies to all councillors and a code of conduct that applies to municipal officials, and whereas the code of conduct templates provided by Municipal and Municipal Affairs are fully compliant with the legislation, be it resolved to adopt the code of conduct councillors and the code of conduct municipal officials in accordance with the templates provided as distributed to council.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Doyle. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And then there is a another motion required for the Funkins. What should I say that? Resolved to approve the purchase of materials and supplies for the Fall Harvest Festival from Funkins Limited at a cost of $13,592 plus HST and shipping.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And that's all I have right now. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Councillor McGrady? Okay, thank you. We'll move on number 8A, the CAO report.
Microphone.
Report was distributed to council. It's number 12 there in your Dropbox. I won't go through in detail. Obviously, our budget amounts haven't changed. Have done a summary there that this is for the up to the end of July 2022. So the comparison is there to budget, and as you can see, based on the percentage spent column, all of our departments are within budget to date. There's a detailed computer-generated report attached to that where you can see the details of those different expenditures. So again, there's no concerns there at this time. I sent out an email to everyone prior to the meeting as well, as part of the Harvest Festival and the funding that was approved through a COLA there in the amount of $74,000. There is some electrical work that has to be done on in the pergola area in order to do some upgrades there to the electrical, and it includes the installation of 4 20-amp receptacles there for that particular festival. And again, that was included in the listing of, I guess, the detailed application that went in for the funding for the Harvest Festival. So the EDTO would like to get that done ASAP, so it's in place for the scheduled festival. So there would need to be a motion of council to approve that, because it does exceed my limit of $2,000. So there is a motion there if council wouldn't mind bringing that forward, approving that purchase by the EDTO for that festival.
Councillor O'Grady, you'd like to make that motion?
Me? Okay, so
That's M.
resolve to approve and install. Is that my do?
No, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
Whoever wants to make it. I saw you making the gesture first, but you go ahead. I'll let the deputy mayor second it if you don't mind.
Okay. Resolve to approve, supply, and install 4 20-amp GFI receptacles and associated materials at the Pergola Park by Oliver Controls and Electric Inc. in an amount of $2,850 plus HST.
Can we get a seconder there? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Slade. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion passed. Is that your report, CAO? Are you finished? Any questions for the CAO? Okay, thank you. We'll move on now to 8B, Director of Operations and Public Works, Mr. Farrell.
Thank you. So I'm lucky number 13 in your Dropbox. This is my activity report up to the 8th of September. You can peruse it on your time. You'll notice that I have some highlighted sections under Section 4 Capital Projects. These are items that have updates to share. The 2022 paving program is moving forward. We had a consultant kickoff meeting last week. Preliminary engineering is scheduled to start on Friday of this week, and we're hoping to call for tenders this year within the next few weeks. It shouldn't take too long to get these drawings pulled together, but of course that's weather depending. The demolition at 47 Water Street, as council is aware, we called for tenders and didn't get any interest. So we're moved on to the next step in the procurement process, which is to invite contractors who might be interested. In my report, I say we invited 3, but I actually invited 4. We also called tenders for replacing the wheelchair lift at the theater. The one bidder came in much over, high over budget. So we're trying to get additional funding for that so we can move it forward. Powell Drive Street Upgrading Phase 2. The preliminary survey is completed. I have a set of documents to table at tomorrow's Public Works Committee meeting. We had the public consultation last week, and the tender call is anticipated for this week or early next week, hopefully this week. With respect to the exterior doors at the Civic Center, the contractor has advised me that the doors and frames are ordered, and they're expected to be delivered by the 12th of October. Valley Road Phase 4, of course, we just made that motion to award that to Wood Environment and Infrastructure. They have the contract in hand, so I'm waiting to get it signed from them so that we can fully execute the document. Water Street Phase 2, that was discussed earlier also, so we had a motion passed to call those tenders when we're ready to proceed to that step. The electrical engineer is speaking with Newfoundland Power about the design there. And with respect to Valley Road Phase 3, a deficiency list has been completed and has been forwarded to the contractor. I followed up with the consultant today to see if there's anything from that I didn't get a response before the meeting. And that's it for me. Anything else? If you look through it and you have any questions, by all means, you can touch base later this evening or tomorrow or when it's convenient for you.
Any questions for the Director of Operations? Thank you, sir. Oh, sorry, Peter.
On the wheelchair list, you see we weren't accepting the, I guess the bid. I just went in Google, wheelchair lifts, and read a little bit about them. There seemed to be a whole array of pretty, pretty good chair lifts for $4,000 or $5,000. As long as they were not interrupting power supplies, so you're not leaving someone up. I don't know if it's something that the town can pursue and implement itself there at the stage, or if it's we need a customized job.
I wouldn't consider it custom job, but it is like a commercial industrial application. I'm not sure, what you're looking at. Maybe it was residential. I don't know. But you can forward it to me. I can look at it certainly. But like the Department of Transportation has their spec for publicly funded buildings, and that's mostly what we went by.
Any other concerns, questions? Thank you. Move on to 8C, Director of Recreation, Mr. Budden.
Thank you. Number 14 in your Dropbox if you want to kind of look along. Under pool and rec maintenance, as the scoreboard installation is in progress, the posts have been ordered and have received drawings and stuff from the company. Public Works were in meet with me yesterday for the plan and digging the holes and concrete pour, but we may need some more discussion there, so we'll probably meet again later and get some more feedback. Parking lot from the work that was done when we were looking for the sewer leak at the pool has been patched. Line painting will be done, I guess, once the Public Works gets time with the weather and there's not too much rain and stuff, just to fix the parking spaces and reinstate the wheelchair accessible parking. For Councillor Doyle's benefit, the seating of the green space at the pergola. I've done a bit of research and stuff, and we've finally got, I guess, a plan in place. Just looking for a motion there. If someone could do that for me, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Councillor Seymour, you want to make a
Councillor
motion on
Seymour,
that?
yeah,
Is that your head or department or whoever? I don't care. Not everyone at the same time now, guys.
I'll make a motion to, since I've been asking for a long time for that, I'm just happy because like Newfoundland Power and EnviroFest, you know what I mean, gave a lot of money to do that green space. And I mean, it's great. It's a beautiful.
You can make the motion and we'll discuss that.
Okay. Make a motion to contract Urban Forester to supply and install topsoil, seed, fertilizer, and lime, approximately 16,000 square feet, for $9,088 plus HST.
Can we get a second for that? Second by Councillor Snow. Discussion.
I'm just glad, sorry, that it's finally, because it, like, to me, we did it, but, like, it was, like, 80% done, and then it was still, like, you know, like, it was some rocky in some areas, there's drainage issues in some areas, so, like, you know, for anybody who went to yoga there this summer, for example, like, there was some wet spots, there was rocks sticking up, and I mean, if we're gonna do something to beautify our town, I think we should, you know, do it and finish it, and now, I mean, now I guess I'll get after for more Adirondack chairs and some more picnic tables there, but, you know, I think that's a beautiful green space for our town, and I mean, Carbonear definitely has one of the nicest, you know, waterfront areas with respect to our ponds and the boardwalk and that area. So I'm glad to see it's finally almost finished.
Councillor Noel.
Just want to try to ensure that that's done in a timely manner because it's getting colder. We got good growing season now, and did they give you any indication as to when this could start?
From our conversation last week when we met over at the site, I'm pretty certain he'll get it done at ASAP. So, because I did speak to him previous, and he did tell us to wait to do any work till after the Labor Day weekend because we had such a dry summer and the soils and everything were so dry. He wanted to make sure it was moist.
Yeah. If we need to keep after him,
Oh yeah,
make sure that that's started very soon.
Yep,
Right.
we'll do.
Thank you, sir.
Councillor
No,
Brady.
that was actually my question as well, because it's, you know, middle of September now. It's getting late to be seeding. If it was sods, it'd be one thing, but to seed this late in the year, it seems. I don't know.
Well, seed can grow till pretty much the end of October. So as
Yeah.
long as it's done at 4 to 6 weeks growing time, we're good.
And that'll need to be, you know, I guess, watered too on a daily basis unless it rains. So are those guys going to keep up doing that?
Well, I know the last time we kind of just ran some hoses and our guys turned it on as it went.
Yeah.
The long range forecast does have a fair amount of rain in the
Yeah.
evenings and stuff in it, so we may not need to worry about
Yeah.
too much. Thankfully.
Councillor Noel, did you have something? Councillor Snow, you have something to say? No. Okay. You want to finish with your report? Are you finished with your report? Oh. Oh, we didn't vote on that yet? Okay. All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
There on the pool report, you can see we're well ahead of last year at this time. Again, last year was still COVID times. This year, not so much. We did have a bit of a slowdown early in the year, but we were able to stay open at a very reduced capacity. So we're really impressed with what we've seen over the summer months and going into the fall. I'm sure you all heard some of the complaints with regards to online registration for our swimming lessons. We're pretty much at capacity, which is great to see. We have just over 350 registered for this fall session, so that's a lot of kids that we're servicing in the area. And our pool visits are I guess for our regular swims and aerobics and stuff have been strong too. So it's nice to see people back in the pool and using our facility.
It looks to be about 90% on all the 21 to 22.
I sent an email, and I don't think I saw it in the recreation minutes when I read down through. I received multiple complaints about swimming registration, and this is the year. It's coming? Okay.
It'll be in the next meet. That was after we had our last recreation
Okay,
meeting.
perfect. So it is being looked at to go online. Perfect. Thank you.
Just to continue there, our fall programming is is being planned and will be released soon. Some things that are almost ready do include our Kids in the Kitchen program back for the fall. Our Tumbling Tots program will restart. We do have our plan for our Trick or Treat walk again this year. As well, we're doing a Halloween kind of swim dance at the pool. As I just said, swim programs are in full swing this fall. Rental spaces are filling up. Swims are well attended, and all our lessons programs are pretty much at full capacity. I've been in discussion with the school to determine gym availability for a community sports program, and we've also talked about the Swim Survive program and offering it to our students. So those we're working with our staff and the school community to see. We're looking at possibly doing it in the fall, but we may be a May thing, which is a better suited for moving into spring. So we're working those details out, but we will offer that program to our grade 2 students this year, or this school year. And we have, again, reached out to our contacts to bring back our youth and adult painting sessions again this fall, so they should be starting again in the near future. And our step aerobics and fitness classes with Monica starting at the pool again this week. She has added a new class on Wednesdays, and she'll be continuing with her Monday and Thursday classes starting tomorrow. She's full. Well, that's good to hear. So that's it for my report. Just kind of a quick synopsis of what's been happening. If there's any questions, feel free to shoot away or contact me
Any
anytime.
new questions or concerns?
Pass a comment. I walk, most evenings after work, and the playground at Willoughby is like kids everywhere. There is a garbage can there, but the garbage can is over by the playground equipment. It's not over by the basketball court, so they're not walking across to put their garbage in the garbage can. They're kind of throwing their water bottles and the Gatorade bottles and everything just there on the ground, so that might become a bit of an issue. So perhaps a second garbage can there might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, well, that has already been brought to our attention.
Okay.
So we'll probably just move that one for now. That was
Okay.
there, but we'll probably look at in the fall adding a second one.
It's great to see
Or in
that
spring,
it's being
sorry, yeah.
used, but I just
Oh,
don't
yeah,
want it to
yeah,
become a
become a
garbage zone
yeah.
either. Yep.
Also, those exercise things you got drawn on the asphalt, right? The kids seem to be really, I walked into one day and they're all, they go through a circuit or something.
Go
right?
through a little circuit, yeah, and do
Yeah.
all, yeah.
They seem to be really, really like that. The
They
kids-
do, yeah. So we do still have the stencils. So we've actually looked at maybe in the spring adding them in some of the other play areas as well, even along some of our walking trails that have either asphalt or a concrete surface. You can maybe stencil some of those on in those areas too. So
Yeah.
come the spring, we may look at expanding where we have that.
Yeah, the kids that were there tried to get me to do it, but I faked an injury.
Yeah. I did the same when my daughter tried to get me to do it. That's what, yeah, not today.
All right, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Move on to number 9, finances, operating invoices over $2,000.
The invoice listing is there in your Dropbox. Resolve to approve operating invoices over $2,000 in the amount of $83,627.99.
Can we get a seconder for that? Second by Deputy Mayor Slade. Discussion? All in favor? Country Minute, motion passed.
Capital invoices, so this is Valley Road, I'm not sure
Us again?
who has to go out.
Councillor Noel, I think.
This is the
This-
first part, is it, or right there?
Just the part in as far as where his sister lives. Not in as far as where your brother.
Okay.
The one that voted on earlier, the next phase.
Phase 4.
Okay, we're good to go?
Go ahead, yep.
Resolve to approve water sewer street upgrading, Valley Road, PN 21-102, MA 17-GI-21-00041, Harrison Associates Engineering, invoice 6966, $11,116.96.
Can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Country Minute, motion passed.
That's it?
Okay, we'll move on. Number 10, regulations for adoption. There are none. Notice of motion, none. Number 12, new business, scheduling of council discussion meetings.
I asked that be added to the agenda. Prior to the election last September, council met regularly before the council meetings, the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, just on discussion items, question and answer sessions with staff, any pertinent information that we might need to know to help us make decisions, etc. It was becoming a lot before the Tuesday council meetings. Sometimes we'd meet 4:30, sometimes we'd meet 5 o'clock, and then we had our council meeting at 5:30, and, you know, there were some complaints that it was going on a long time, and then things were rushed, and you might have 5 things on the agenda, and you might only get to 3. So I understand all of that. But from that, there was a discussion held that we were going to have regular Monday meetings, and we kind of all cleared our schedules for Monday, and we talked about Monday, and it was going to be regular Monday meetings. Since the end of September, to the best of my knowledge, I think we've only had 2 Monday meetings, and as will be coming out in our strategic plan, communication is a huge issue within the town of Carbonear, in my own opinion. So if we're not meeting to discuss issues with ourselves and with staff, then obviously those issues are going to continue to get bigger and bigger, and we're not going to problem solve anything by us not discussing. So I have sent multiple emails to which I've received no response about when we're having these Monday meetings. So I thought this would be the best place for us to talk about it, and we'd set a date. Are we going to go to first Monday of the month, the second Monday of the month, the third Monday of the month, the fourth Monday of the month? And we send, like the meeting will go ahead, because like I already have a list of Monday issues from the minutes. Like, for example, the train fence was something that Recreation wanted to discuss with all of council. Developments had several things that they wanted to discuss with all council. So family doctors and retention and recruitment is something I think that's important to all the residents of Trinity Conception. So can we decide here tonight which Monday of the month we are having this meeting, and then we can send in our agenda items, and if it's felt we need a second meeting, then we call the second meeting. But I think, to quote something Council Seymour said, like, there's no team, there's no cooperation. We need to go ahead with these meetings.
Any other comments or concerns?
I think that they served a valuable role, and I'm confident in recent discussions that Mr. Mayor will probably look at that again, and again, like 2 councillors, I guess we can call a meeting, but I think that this is on the road now to probably address some of that. I don't know if Mr. Mayor, you'd like to comment on that. I'd certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, we had a little gathering yesterday, and it was certainly productive. I don't know if we need one for the month of September now, but we certainly could start with sometime in October.
I think, we currently don't have a family doctor in the town of Carbonear. There's no better time, to start discussing things than the present. And out of the discussion meeting yesterday, there was a number of questions that I think need to be talked about with staff to get some feedback and some information. So, can we set a date of when our next Monday meeting is going to be, and decide which Monday of the month?
Monday of the month is good with me, around 4 o'clock. I don't know the times, if you want to throw some suggestions.
The first Monday, you're saying?
Monday of the month, 4 o'clock. Good time for everyone?
That
It's
will
fine with me.
probably, isn't Thanksgiving the first? Okay, it's the second, sorry, okay, so yep, October.
I guess it doesn't really happen.
I'm good,
Tuesday
I'm
or
good,
what?
I'm good with the first. We decided on Monday, so
Councillor Noel?
I think that if you want things to happen, they need to be scheduled, and there's a lot of busy people around these tables here, and everybody values and sees the benefit of those things. So if not, scheduled, it's easy to get stuff just pushed down the road a little bit. So I would like for us to nail down, for the benefit of all my colleagues and for the office
So if there's
staff.
something happening on the first Monday of the month, we move it to the second Monday. And God forbid we can't do the second Monday, we'll do the third.
I'm okay with that. I'm good with the first Monday of the month, because that even though that doesn't get us one in October, that's still just, a few weeks away. And, I think we'll have some committee meetings in between then and now. So if committees have stuff that they want to kind of put forward, and if you have multiple things, if those items could be prioritized, you know what I mean? Your first most important thing, your second most important thing, and your third most important thing. That way, if we don't get to everything, at least we're getting to the most important thing from every committee. And I feel like that will help us make some progress with, some things.
It's October 3rd. What's the issue with that? That's fine.
So is that what we're saying, October 3rd at 4
Yeah,
o'clock?
that's not Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the next week
Mhm.
after, right? Councillor Seymour, you got his hand up.
The schedule of events that surround things with this, I understand, and I was the one, along with the little discussion we had just a while back. I was the one that said yes, teamwork and everything, and a different approach, and see where we go with things. I understand what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, we all have, as Mr. Noel just said, a schedule of how we go in our lives. My life surrounds me in my workplace, and I'll get to where I get to when these guys, and I be try to get to every meeting I have. I don't know if I missed one meeting yet, but other than being probably really sick one day, I think it was one that I've missed since I come here in September. Last September, sorry. I will approach myself at every given time to be here when I can, at any time I can. But you got to realize that I work with the healthcare system, and the healthcare system surrounds me of being there 12-hour shifts, night and day. I work rotation. So when you schedule a meeting, if you give me 48 hours notice, I will give ye time, because I have to give them time to let me know when I can get off or not. So ye give me an approach of a 48-hour notice, and I'll give you the time of when I can approach ye, the hour and the day.
So this would help with the consistency for you. Like if we know it's going to be the first Monday of every month, like would that help you plan ahead then?
Not possible.
Not 100, not guaranteed, but is a better chance.
Because like we just spoke about doctors and so on.
Yep.
The healthcare system is short-handed even ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not every day that I can go in and say, can I have this evening off? But I will try the utmost to be here for every meeting.
I mean, like I have work commitments and child commitments as well. And I mean, for the meetings I can't get to, I will still send in my list of concerns, you know what I mean, for whoever to speak to on my behalf. You know what I mean?
I will do.
Yeah.
If I'm not there, well, we'll do that. Thank you.
And if it don't work, we can always move to another day.
Oh,
If it
well,
falls
listen,
on a holiday or something like that.
At the end of the day, the staff is here. They'll approach me. They'll send me whatever needs to be sent, and I'll send back to them. And if there's any detailed thing I want you to address and I can't make it, I'll send it along to you.
Okay. Councillor Noel?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a motion about that because I think that if we don't put it in the motion, sometimes it gets, forgotten or something. So I know we're having a discussion of council now, but we had some issues where if the motion is not made, so I'll make the motion that we have.
So you make a motion that
on the
we
meetings.
have the,
Working, of course, around our colleagues as best we can.
so the first Monday of the month. Okay. Can we get a seconder for that? Second by Deputy Mayor Slade. Discussion? You already had it. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion passed. Okay, this Saturday, guys, is September 17th, is the Sam Jeffers ride. They're coming to Carbonear. So if anyone, I'm not sure the exact time, it could be around dinner time. So if anyone's around, you can certainly drop down just to welcome into the town. I think we had a group of seniors from CBS came out there a few weeks back. I don't think I mentioned that before. They took it upon themselves to charter a bus and came out to Carbonear. They wanted to walk on the cobblestones of downtown Carbonear, so that's what they did. They spent a few hours here, and I think they had a pretty good time. I did get on the bus and welcome them after they came back from their meals and that. They were happy. One person wanted to know if I could do anything with the taxes, and I said, well, that's not my jurisdiction. You have to talk to the mayor of CBS. And on behalf of the council, I sent condolences to the family of Queen Elizabeth II, and I think Monday may be a federal holiday for federal servants. But I just wanted to know that I did reach out to the Buckingham Palace or wherever we went to offer our condolences. Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Noel. Meeting adjourned.